honest, I feel like we being experimented on, because they'll tell you about black on black crime. That's why we get records and stuff. People sell drugs and stuff, but people do that for a reason. If you search in history and do your research, they had an experiment called the ghetto. That was when the Nazis did an experiment on the Jews, put them in a confined space with limited resources, and they started killing and stealing from each other. And that's the same conditions we living in now.
What's your name?
Scott Huffman.
Okay, and what do you do?
I'm a sign language interpreter.
Okay, so what's your work with reentry?
Well, so I deal with both hearing and deaf people, but my passion, my advocacy really lies with the deaf community and deaf people who are incarcerated and returning citizens. So I work with a national organization titled Helping Educate to Advance Rights for the Deaf. It's an all-volunteer nonprofit organization based out of D.C. So we do a lot of community-based work with deaf, hard of hearing, deaf disabled, deaf blind, returned and returning citizens. So I get them before they get out and when they're getting out.
Okay, so what is your theory on stopping recidivism, or at least reducing it?
So that's a heavy loaded question. However, so you know, we live in a state who incarcerates more people per capita than any state, country, anything in the entire on the entire planet. So that is a weighted question. However, my thing with reentry, at the end of the day, it revolves around education.
We have this habit of thinking of prisoners as something very external to society. After all, there are literal walls between them and society, walls capped with razor wire and watched over by people with guns. But millions of prisoners are released each year. Today's prisoners are tomorrow's neighbors, so corrections should probably be the most important piece of the incarceration pie. Unfortunately, it is not. We are, however, really good at punishment.
So, how do you feel expungements would help cut down recidivism rates?
Well, I can't say that expungements will cut down on recidivism, but what I would say is expungements would give people an opportunity to move forward in life, thereby giving a person a mindset that, hey, I have an opportunity to show what I'm made of, I have an opportunity to show my talents. So I'm not going to do something that's going to land me back in jail. Whereas if a person can't get around the criminal history with an expungement, they're more at a hopeless state to say, well, I have this already, so I'm going to go ahead and do this.
And you think it's hard to get a job in America? Well, we make it intentionally more difficult to get a job once you have a conviction on your record, not to mention just to live your life. Convicts are ineligible for welfare, student loans, public housing, food stamps, and are often socially disconnected from community and family support structures. So in addition to having high recidivism rates, they have very high rates of homelessness and suicide. Somewhere along the way, we started to think that being tough on crime meant being tough on criminals, but that's not the same thing.
I was at the station when you and Mr. Grimes were on the radio.
Yeah.
Just a question, how do we make expungements more universal? Is there a solution to making the process easier, faster, so people can get like to the jobs?
That's a real difficult question and the answer will take a while, but they did change some of the expungement rules to make it more uniform statewide.
Okay.
So there's been some changes, and there's also been changes with fees with regard to when the charges were dismissed outright, whether it was a plea and then a dismissal. But still, I think Louisiana compared to other states have a long way to go to make it as some other states have. So I know we've talked about that with Mr. Wyndham with their reentry, and because once someone does come out, although they're re-entering, records, obviously the record still kind of holds a lot back. So that's I think there's still a lot of work to be done.
A million things run through my mind, and I find you ain't gotta be in jail to be doing time. You ain't gotta be in jail. Remember this too. Time goes by, puffin' no lie, hoping that it gets me high. Gotta make it go crazy.
I was required to do a fingerprint check with the state police in order to go on a field trip with my daughter to work in the cafeteria to do service hours. I feel like that was an invasion of my privacy. I also had to bring a copy of the dismissal of charges to school to prove that the charges were dismissed. Now everyone at the school knows what those dismissed charges were. Again, that was an invasion of my privacy for something that happened many years ago.
What is the biggest obstacle that you see with people that hold records as far as everyday life?
Number one, employment.
Yeah.
That is the number one single thing. And I think without good employment, sustainable employment, it is a domino effect on the other problems affecting the community.
Ain't no doubt, day in and day out. This life is like a vicious cycle, caught fighting to live. No matter how hard you try, you see death, you gotta die. A lot of mine peers didn't make it to the years to come. Dear life, do them right, or dear life, leave them done. Who has the answers?
We gotta help ourselves. We gotta start some kind of black economy where we don't even have to rely on these jobs for to hire us, where we can hire ourselves.
Man, entrepreneurship is the way to go. Get you an idea, believe in that idea. First, you have to believe in that idea. And if you can get other people around you that believe in your vision, then go for it, you know. Like I said, small business and enterprises, that's the only way to go.
A million things run through my mind, and I find you ain't gotta be in jail to be doing time. You ain't gotta be in jail. Remember this too. Time goes by, puffin' no lie.